This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today it's another making a bracelet. This time it was pattern 134654 from Bracelet book. This is a Blindsided Creation that I heavily modded, and I really do like the fact that I did go through and change it dramatically. The area that was essentially the same as the bracelet still turned out looking pretty cool. Not going to knock the pattern at all for that, but it would have been kind of repetitive and unnecessarily repetitive if I just left it the way it was. And I thought I could have some fun with it. And I'm looking down at the bracelet, by the way. I have it in my hand, as I most typically do. Changing it up made it so that way there was very, very distinct areas of the bracelet, which again, that kind of gives it that feeling like it's going faster than perhaps it really kind of is. You're like, oh, I finished an area, and for me, that's a little bit of dopamine right there for the brain. I get excited. Okay, cool. And I go into the next area and like, you finished another area. Like, oh yeah, right. This is great. I had a lot of that going on with this bracelet. It was a lot of fun. And I was watching a movie while making it, and yeah, that probably wasn't the smartest thing, because at some point here, I had a whole area where I got confused and mixed it up and had to back out a whole bunch of knots. I cut that out of the video itself because it took a bunch of time or whatever. Overall, though, the whole bracelet probably took me about an hour and 20 minutes for 16 strings. That's actually really, really good. I attribute that to the fact that it was segmented really nicely and it just kind of put it together really well for me. I may not have actually done like the best at segmenting it and getting it so that way that like the most like optimal way of putting it together, I guess, but it went together nice. It went together. I'm not disappointed in how it went. So yeah. Oh, and there was no trouble with the lengths of the strings. At one point I was kind of concerned about the light colored because they get used a whole lot more. But that was not a thing. There was a thing though that goes on here. So occasionally, because I don't pay an awful lot for my floss. Normally over here to buy DMC, it's about $1 a piece. If I buy in bulk out of China, I can get it as low as like 7 cents a piece. So obviously that's a huge, huge difference. So I sometimes have to deal with the quality being a little not perfect. And in this case, that is this lighter colored green is just slightly bigger than the rest of the string. And that happens sometimes. And if you work out your tension well, that's not a problem. But there's 4 strands of this green going on out of 16. So that's it's kind of a chunk of it, right? But then there's the blue. And I really wish the camera could pick up better on it. Because I kind of going into this, I knew, so there's 6 strands of the blue. So yeah, the blue is a bit smaller. And I knew this going in because so there's 3 long strands, right, of dark blue cotton. And there are 3 long strands because I cut my string in thirds, right? This out of the whole skein, when you buy the 8-meter skein, right? You cut it into thirds. 3 of them are that silky, smooth stuff that you can't tie a bracelet with, right? So it turns out if you want to use some of that stuff and add that kind of sheen to your bracelet, you just have to find a similar color in cotton and put the 2 together. And I really wish the camera would pick this up, because when I look at the bracelet itself, there's just little areas of it that have that sheen that is why we would want to even use that kind of string in the first place. Normally when you pair up your strings, like I double on my strings, right? Normally when you double it, you can see, for the most part, the two like to stick together. But if you watch the blue, they don't, because that silky one does not bond with its neighbor. And that's partly why we can't use the silky ones to tie the knots. They don't have, like, if you were to put the string under a microscope, right, you would see little micro areas of like little fuzz coming off and little barbs. And that's what connects to the other strings and makes it so that way that a knot is kept nice and firm. When you do the silky stuff, it's so smooth, it's so glossy that the knots don't stay. That was the mistake there. By the way, I need to thank my Patreon supporters and my YouTube members for making this stuff possible. They helped me to buy all the string, including this silky stuff that I got while I was in Thailand, back in, like, I think it was that back in January? No, it was longer than that. It was a while ago. It was quite a while ago. But I've had it set aside. I was going to try to come up with stuff. I wanted to see whether or not I could use it in just a bracelet, and that turned out to no, it can't. We could make kumis out of it, but then, that's not what I bought it for. I wanted to have it in bracelets, and this is the first time really trying it out this way, and it worked out great. I really think that I'm going to mix it up again. I don't know that I can necessarily find as good of a match as what this blue to the blue was. So maybe in the future ones, when I mix it together, you'll get to see a little bit more of where the gloss kind of shows up versus the cotton string. Because if they're not the same color, right, it's going to do that little mixed thing. If you've never seen that before, there's a video where it looks like Spider-Man's costume, where I mixed different shades of gray with reds and blues. That was amazing. That was so much fun. You should check out that video. I will try to look it up. I'll put it in the comments if I can find it. But yeah, that kind of stuff. Totally so much fun. But yeah, there is a glossiness to this that couldn't been done otherwise, and makes me just like it that much more. I really, really do like this bracelet. But like I said, some of the knots, there's some gaps in here, and that's just because the differences of the sizes of the strings and the knots, the blues being smaller, the light green being larger. And then like the rest of the colors are all normal, right? The dark green and that kind of a, I don't know what the other color is. It's still a light green, but it's not really olive, but it's kind of headed that way. So yeah. But yeah, this was, I probably did have to look at the pattern a bunch, but like not, like how sometimes you have to really concentrate on like making sure you know exactly where you are and you're checking it every single knot of the way. This was not like that. This is like, oh, long green row, got it. Do the hourglass shape thing, got it. But double checking, because after the one mistake, I get a little paranoid and don't want to do that again. But yeah, overall, it was not that bad. I really like it. Hopefully you like it. If you have questions, leave me in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're working on that you're, concerned about or whatever. I do try to make videos to answer people's questions. So yeah, let's let's get you up to speed and get you making something really nice. Because, yeah, this was a simple pattern that got changed around. And I mean, well, you'll see in the reveal, but it's really, really cool. I really love the fact that it's symmetrical. It's got a whole area that's darker. The outer parts are lighter. There's like so much going on. It's just fun to look at. And yeah, I want you guys to be able to do this as well. Because the patterns that you typically get on the web pages aren't going to have all of this going on because they want it repeatable, right? So we just took that repeatable part, used that for part of the center, and then went off script. So yeah, I want to teach that. I want you guys to be able to learn how to do that and be able to make your own. And yeah, it'll be fun. I think, yeah, we're getting into like the last hourglass place. You can see some of the strings are already getting set off to the side as being done. So yeah, this is, oh no. Okay, well, yeah, on the right side, that light one and the dark one are done. And yeah. So yeah, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for all of the support over the years. I really do appreciate it. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.